I thought I'd give you a brief overview of some of the business graphics that I've been working on. This one is a simple graph program, which is surprisingly not so simple. Here we are plotting some data, but one of the things that I thought would be very nice is if you could have Greek letters. Kind of like the Greek letters. Here's e to the 2 pi omega t, and here's theta sub 1 on the graph. And typically doing things like superscripts and subscripts, it's relatively routine, but getting the Greek letters in there, it's a little bit more difficult, surprisingly so. And doing some elementary graphs, with reasonable notation for a mathematician is something that I think we should all be able to do without too much stress. So here is my mechanism for notating theta sub 1. Here's e to the 2 pi omega t. That's my notation. And you can kind of see what the problem is. When you're in Java, you're dealing with ASCII letters, and you have to describe the Greek characters. And so what we'll do, I think, if it makes any sense to people, is surround them with dollar signs and give them special names. And in this way, very much like LaTeX, we can have subscripts, we can have superscripts. That's a subscript. This is the superscript. And you should be able to get some kind of reasonable display out of it. As far as the sample data is concerned, I tried to come up with something relatively general for creating sample data, and all I did was made the assumption that everything should be double precision. And so here we are running through a series of double precision numbers, pushing them into an array, and then returning the array. That's not too bad, I think. Probably you want to be able to do multiple axes and multiple data sets and plot one thing versus another thing. But this is what I've got for so far. Other kinds of graphics that people like to do for business. Here's a simple bar chart. What I like to do, if I can, is avoid having things hard-coded too much. This one is not the most elegant display, I think. And we've got another one in here which will do some simple drawing. And in this way, I think we've got a mechanism for doing some basic graphics. But when we look at it, it's not going to give us that those Greek characters that we spoke of before. Plus, it's a little bit more raw. When you look at the data that gets drawn, it is something that you have to construct. So here is a way in which you can know in advance how many points you want, what the increment should be as you go through your function, and then you can push those points directly into some sort of a data structure called plot1, and then this proceeds to plot it. That's not too bad, but you knowing the number of points in advance means that you have to put that in a for loop, whereas before we just pass it an array and it figures out how many points are in the array, which makes a whole lot more sense to me. There's another one in here called a line graph. This is covered in the book on chapter 27, and it'll let you plot x versus y. And that can be generally helpful when you're trying to plot relations as opposed to functions. That strictly speaking, a circle is a relation. It's not a function. Functions only have one point per x coordinate, whereas a circle has two. And being able to plot elementary relations seems like a generally useful sort of thing, but then you need two arrays, one for the x and then one for the y. And you'll want to find some mechanism for parameterizing them. In this case, because it's a polar coordinate relation with a circle, I use theta. So that's a parametric form of the circle, as opposed to the implicit form, which uses x squared plus y² = r². Other kinds of business graphics include pie charts. So here's a simple pie chart. And in this pie chart, we get to see something visualized that may be more obvious in the pie chart than if we were to show it in some sort of a table. People kind of like the pie charts. It's a business graphics kind of thing. And I've got mechanisms for exporting these things using Windows meta files so that you can import them into Word or GIF or whatever you like. So that's a fairly low-level pie chart facility, and you can use that to good effect on the server to generate GIF images that then get pumped out to the browser. So then you can use these things both on the client and on the server. And this makes use of a thing called the double data bean. And the double data bean is just a component which essentially allows you to describe the X and Y values, give your labels, and then put in your double precision data. And that's kind of a fun way to do pie chart graphics. Probably other ways to do it, probably too many. Here's something that's very fun. We decided to come up with a way to represent some binary numbers. And so here we are trying to click on the numbers so that you can design things like icons. And so this is a mechanism whereby you can output the icon information directly onto into the Java code. And that can be very fun as well. So that's what I've got for you. That's my little demo. Hope you liked it. Thanks a bunch. Bye-bye.